Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure to stand before you to engage your minds on issues of youth within the British Virgin Islands. I am Adron Grant Davis, a first-year student at the University of the West Indies Open Campus, where I am reading for a Bachelor of Science degree in Youth Development work. I have conducted a research into the true nature of the contemporary education system as it is in the British Virgin Islands, particularly as it relates to youth. In fulfillment of this stated purpose, the following questions serve as useful signposts on the basis of which success of the research was predicated. What are the educational opportunities available to youth in the British Virgin Islands? What levels of education, secondary, tertiary, out of school, distance learning are provided to youth in the BVI? Are there any unique or special programs geared at meeting the training needs of youth in the BVI? And what are some of the provisions for technical and vocational training? Ladies and gentlemen, as a pretext for this research, perhaps it would be useful to explain a few details about the BVI community. The British Virgin Islands is a United Kingdom overseas territory consisting of 50 small islands located in the northeastern Caribbean Sea, about 50 miles east of Puerto Rico. The Queen, represented by a resident governor, exercises both executive and ceremonial powers. However, there is limited but meaningful internal self-government led by an elected premier and his cabinet, who shares power with the governor. There is a vibrant and prosperous economy which is based on offshore financial services and tourism. The country boasts a high per capita income of 38,500 United States dollars, one of the highest in the world. The population stands at 28,500, of which a significant portion, about 50%, is expatriate drawn from the Caribbean, United Kingdom, United States of America, and Canada, attracted by jobs in the tourism industry and financial services sector. Ladies and gentlemen, between 1991 and 2001, the economy grew by an average of 9%, and a similar trend continues today. The country's legal tender has been the United States dollar since 1957, and this is a consequence of the geographical, economic, and cultural proximity to the United States Virgin Islands, namely St. John, St. Thomas, and St. Croix. Most of the people in the BVI reside on the islands of Tortola, Anegada, Virgin Gorda, and Just Van Dyke. Tortola is home to about 85% of the residents, and this is where most of the educational activities occur. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go further, there are some terms which I want to define. The first one is the term youth. For the purpose of this presentation, youth shall be construed to refer to those individuals within the age range of 14 to 29. This is the youth age category made famous by the United Nations and which many countries have adopted. It is appropriate for this presentation because the BVI also makes judicious use of this definition. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to make a distinction between education and training. Though closely related, they are quite different, as I will now explain. Simply put, education is a process of imparting and/or acquiring general knowledge, developing powers of reasoning and judgment, and generally preparing intellectually for life. Now, training refers to the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and competences as a result of the teaching of vocational or practical skills. Training, ladies and gentlemen, is also usually linked to preparation for the world of work. The BVI provides unique opportunities for youth to explore the culture of the islands while receiving a sound education both in the public and private educational institutions. The country is home to a total of 4 public secondary schools, 3 private secondary schools, and a dedicated technical and vocational school. Youth have 2 options for tertiary education: the H. Lavity Stout Community College and the University of the West Indies Open Campus. Both offer courses in the associate level, and in the case of the latter, bachelor's and master's programs in various disciplines. Ladies and gentlemen, students in the BVI also have the option of studying via distance learning in the Caribbean, the United Kingdom, or the United States of America. Many youth have been known to go next door to the US Virgin Islands and attend university there. The British Virgin Islands, being a British overseas territory, the education system in the BVI is much like the traditional learning system in the United Kingdom. It is by law that persons ages 5 through to 16 are required to be enrolled in and attend an educational program or programs while residing in the territory. Once in secondary school, students spend 5 years, and in the 5th year, the National School Leaving Exam is taken for the awarding of a high school diploma. During the final year, students in the 4 public secondary schools may also take a Regional Caribbean Examination Council CXC exam. These exams are given in a wide variety of subjects. Passes in the exams are also required for admission to some colleges and universities in the United States and the Caribbean. There is presently governmental activism to have the CXC being mandatory for all high school students. Education is provided free of cost up to the secondary level. Youths who are citizens of the BVI attend the community college tuition free. However, they pay for textbooks, and should they fail a course or have to resit or to take another in its place, they must pay the tuition for that particular course. Additionally, the government funds many scholarships to overseas universities, with a caveat that youth return after studying and contribute to nation building. Ladies and gentlemen, it was mentioned earlier in a cursory way that the two main planks of the BVI economy are tourism and financial services. One would be well advised to bear this in mind as we consider the extent to which there may be unique programs for training opportunities of youth. Recently, a rather bold move was taken to introduce training and teaching materials about the financial services sector into the curriculum of the secondary level. The BVI, being home to several thousand private banks and trust companies, has a significant number of youth gainfully employed at various levels of the financial services sector. This is, however, a worrying deficit in their numbers at the managerial level. The government believes that by introducing youth in the industry very early in life, over time it would result in them pursuing tertiary qualification to infiltrate the management ranks of the sector. Also, ladies and gentlemen, a large plank of the tourism industry has to do with sailing. Interestingly, the BVI is marketed as a sailing capital of the world. And based on that popularity of sailboats and related activities across many islands, it is a well-earned title. In this regard, H. Lavity Stoutt Community College has a Department of Marine Studies which has a mandate to train youth in various areas of marine work. Some of the programs offered are seamanship, boatmaster, sail rigging, basic boat building, marine welding, nautical navigation, and chart reading. What is apparent is that whereas the education system provides these unique training needs, it is also demonstrative of how relevant it is to the labor needs of the vibrant economy. Another area in which education system stands out in the context to which it caters to the training needs of differently abled youth. I use the term differently abled youth advisedly, as it is a preferred characterization in the British Virgin Islands when referring to special needs or physically challenged persons. There is a very deliberate move to ensure that differently abled youth are not excluded from the educational system. Special education teachers are assigned to each school, and there is also a special education institution for those acute cases which cannot be dealt with in the regular schools. Ladies and gentlemen, the system also makes provisions for those youths who, for whatever reason, fail to successfully complete the formal school program. The Department of Education has a rich array of remedial services consisting of evening classes, mentorship program, truancy officers, and counselors, all directed towards catering to the needs of youth who are experiencing difficulties in the education and training process. Earlier I said in passing that the BVI boasts a dedicated technical and vocational training institution. This school, the BVI Technical and Vocational School, is a secondary level program which teaches skills such as plumbing, technical drawing, carpentry, masonry, sewing, culinary arts, electronics, among others. However, this is not the only institution which does this kind of training, as the community college does a fair amount of similar training, albeit at an advanced stage. Technical and vocational skills are in high demand, as currently most of these jobs in the labor market are filled by expatriate workers from the Caribbean countries. These jobs are attractive to the youth because they yield high incomes. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I think it has been demonstrated in the BVI society, I think it has been demonstrated that the BVI society places a rather high value on education and training, particularly for youth. There are many opportunities of youth to be educated and trained. The levels of education for youth include secondary, which is mandatory, and extends to the highest pinnacles of tertiary institutions, locally and overseas. There are unique education and training offerings which are a reflection of labor market needs. The system is very inclusive, such that copious measures are taken to facilitate differently abled youth. There are many avenues through which youth may obtain technical and vocational training. Though comprehensive in its scope and effect, the BVI education system remains a work in progress. This is easily seen when one considers the almost continuous improvements made to make it more responsive to the needs of youth. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the data on which this research relied was obtained from the following sources. C. Budram, 2013, Sociology of Youth, Course Notes, University of the West Indies Open Campus. BVI Finance, 2012, Caribbean Development Bank, 2003, BVI Property Assessment. L. Dawson, 2002, Inclusive Education in the British Virgin Islands. A. Archer Flax, 2010, Distance Education among Adult Learners in the British Virgin Islands. Hamilton Lavity Stout Community College, 2013, Department of Marine Studies. And ladies and gentlemen, lastly, M. Potter, 2011, Annual Educational Report. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attentiveness. I trust this session was as informative for you as it has been for me. Thank you.